All right, so these are your power boards. A lot of times these come out of TVs, flat screen TVs. These are like super frigicalialidocious, however you say that word, of the power boards. There's a lot on them. There's a lot of weight to them. If one side is green and the other side is brown, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, I think you can get mid-grade board price for this from Board Sort. If both sides are brown, it's low grade, if I remember correctly. So you have to decide, what are you going to do? I mean, it's a lot of weight on this thing. Most of the time I take them apart. I strip them down. I rip the stuff off of them. So let's get to it and see how long it takes and what we get.
Rock bottle on the track, boy.
Alright, so figure if I'm gonna do this, we need to do this. You know what I'm saying? You don't know what I'm saying. Let me show you what I'm saying. Let's actually figure this up. So I'm not sure that this is really what these power blocks are made for. But it works. So I got a power block. I've hooked my electric scale up to it because I'm not sure where my glass scale is at the moment. Let's see if we can't get a weight on this board. Somewhat decent weight. So that's 1 pound 13 ounces. As I said, it's got a little bit of weight to it. I'm not sure if y'all can see that. Let's bring y'all over here. So 1 pound 13 ounces, 0.1. So let's see if we can't take this board and everything apart and see what we can actually get out of it. So the battery on my GoPro is getting ready to quit on me, so at some point we will have to take a break so I can swap batteries. But let's find out if it's worth stripping these or not, and how much money we actually make doing so. So if we're lucky, the drill will reach most of these. So this is MOSFETs connected to aluminum heat sinks. AKA extruded aluminum. So these big things right here, and all these small ones, I've had some people tell me their yard will give them aluminum breakage for them, which I think is fine. That's a whole lot better than shred, but I don't think it's worth going after for all the depopulation time just to get that. Now a board like this, maybe, because there's some pretty big ones on there here, but normally they're not, they don't weigh nothing. A barrel of them, 55-gallon drum of them probably wouldn't weigh 10 pounds. So is that worth the time? Because all it is like sheets of aluminum foil inside of them, basically. Alright, let's see if we can't get most of these screws out of our way. screwdriver for is one of them. This one right here, because the drill won't reach. And a lot of times on most of these power boards, the drill won't reach in there because everything's just packed in so tight. Alright, so at this point we start separating. Pull these MOSFETs off of here. 'Cause, I mean, they're not glued to it, but they do have a heat paste, and that does tend to do kind of a glue-like effect sometimes. And be prepared to get nasty, because you can get that glue all over you. Alright. So all of those have turned loose. So let's have some fun. So a lot of times you'll break the board. But does it matter? If you're depopulating everything anyway, it doesn't too much matter. So that basically looks like all of our copper. So we're going to take this and set it aside so we can weigh it here in a second. Because as y'all know, this can go as copper bearing motors. So we'll get back to that in a minute. Definitely lost most of its weight. Now we have aluminum heat sinks to get off of here. Some people grab them and just rip them right off. Some people pry them up. This is normally when you get to breaking the board. That leaves us MOSFETs. So again, the small, aka these, I normally toss in aluminum breakage. But your big power boards like this, I'll normally take the time to break them down. Alright, I do believe that is all the MOSFETs. At this point, I normally just toss this into shred. Or if it has a green back, it normally means there's a copper layer in there for some of these paths, so you can still get some copper out of it. There is 2 IC chips that I'll steal off of there too. They probably won't even tip the scale to be able to weigh them, but that's that. So to finish cleaning these, there's a couple different ways. A lot of times you can just grab it and pull it right out. And that's clean extruded aluminum. Now sometimes they will break off on you, or sometimes they're just a pain altogether. All of us have different ways of doing this. So there's steel pins in this that connected it to the board. Having that extra set of pliers helps with that. So we're not going to worry about the shred weight, because it's not going to be much. But we're going to check a weight of the other stuff and see if it was worth doing that or not. So we're going to take a scale and set it back out here. Turn it back on. Aluminum heat sink, 4.6 ounces. Let's spin y'all down here so y'all can see. So we'll get a mount for that in a little while. We'll drop that in with the rest of our aluminum heat sinks in the bucket there. MOSFETs, I don't think there's a category for these, but you're looking at 0.9 ounces, so almost an ounce. And then copper bearing motors, and of course y'all know if you spend the time taking the copper off, you can get number 2 copper for the copper, and that will push your price up even more. So almost 12 ounces, so 11.9 ounces of copper bearing motors. So let's do some math on this and see if it was worth it. It took us what? Alright, so did some math, and we're just using board sorts, prices that are listed. So the board, before we did anything to it, was 1.13 pounds, so that's 73 cents. And I mean, if you pulled in with a truckload of them up there, You'd make a pretty good amount of money off of a truckload, even if it was just to the top of the bed and not piled up or whatever. So if you live close enough to make that drive to them, it's worth your while. Now, the mid-grade and the low-grade are both listed at 40 cents a pound, so it doesn't really matter which category you drop them in. That might be a mistake on the website. I'm not sure. You'd have to check with Board Sort. But, so if you take it apart like we did, so extruded aluminum, we had 4.6 pounds. So that's about 7 cents. Copper motors, we had 12 ounces, so that's about 15 cents. So grand total of like 22 cents, plus the shred, whatever shred price is left for the board. And your MOSFETs, I mean, you can get number 2 copper for them if you take the time to clean them up. I'm not about that. I'd send them in for precious metals. So if you're not the precious metal type of person, then it's or the type of person that wants to melt that extruded aluminum, then it is worth your time to just load them, stack them like they are, and take them to Board Sort. Possibly the same if you have somewhere close to you that buys e-waste. Just bear that in mind. You don't always get more money for taking something apart. Now, the extruded aluminum I plan to melt and cast into big ingots and possibly find a business to sell them back to. It's kind of my plan. So I've got, I think, 255-gallon drums full of them. Extruded aluminum is a higher grade aluminum than your sheet aluminum or your cast aluminum or whatever. So that's kind of my thing with that. My cast and sheet I turn in, get scrap price for, whatever. My extruded aluminum I've been saving for that purpose. That, and I also have people that want me to do art and they want it in aluminum. They may want an aluminum bunny rabbit or aluminum cat or whatever, aluminum coin with something, whatever. So I keep it for that purpose. Now, the cast aluminum does flow better when you're pouring, but there's that. Of course, the copper motors, you can take the copper off and get a higher price for that and throw what's left of that motor over into the shred pile. You know, that's up to you. It's not going to make too awful much of a change for something that small, as far as price wise, but I tend to break it down for the purpose that I hope to do some type of or see some type of recovery from the MOSFETs, and hope to get something back from the extruded aluminum. So yeah, there's that. But anyway, just wanted to give you a breakdown of that. Whether it's worth your time, not worth your time, you have to decide. Definitely less money if you're breaking it down, you know, like this. But at the same time, if there's stuff in it that you want, then it may be worth your time. So I hope y'all enjoyed. We'll see you next time.